What's up guys, it's Ryan here, and welcome to a movie review. Kinda new on my channel, which is okay, and I think you guys probably saw this coming. Told a few of my friends about this, saying, would this be a good idea to do a movie review, kind of like Chris Stuckman, his style, and I don't want to copy him, but it's just, his format's really good, and he also has over 1 million subs, so it doesn't matter if a guy with 200 copies him. Oops. So I took some notes, and I am reviewing The Grudge from 2003. It released in 2004 in the US, but I think it released in some places in 2003. And as far as I know, The Grudge is a remake or a retelling of a Japanese movie that came out years ago. So I was pretty excited because when something is remade, especially when it's from Japan or something like that, it's probably good. Or it's a cool story, because Japan, they just have really weird but cool stories. And same applies for The Grudge. Now, I will admit, the start of the movie, I got lost. I was checking my phone, really distracted, and not because I was distracting myself, it's because the movie was just really boring. The start kind of hooks your attention, but it's weird. It's not a great hook. It's kind of like, you're like, oh, okay, weird horror movie start. Odd. And it doesn't relate that much back to the plot later on. I did get kind of lost during this movie because it's a very weird movie. There's not much explanation, and a few of my friends agreed. But it is good. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm going to say some things that might make it sound like I didn't enjoy it. I did have fun watching it, especially the end. The last act is actually pretty good. And it sets it for a sequel. I don't know if I'm going to watch the sequel just because sequels are never better. In the rating that I gave this one, I don't think it could go up much. This rating is kind of harsh, but that's just because of how cliche it is. There's lots of cliche things. You know, slow door opening and this happened a lot where the camera was facing a character. They slowly look behind them, and then the jump scare. And with the jump scares, those are actually pretty good. I liked them. It only had a budget of $10 million US, which is a lot of money. To me, $10 million is a lot of money. Like, gotta be rich. But for a movie, that's not that much, and it made $180 million, so it did make back a lot of its money. It was a pretty big success, just because I'm assuming back then there wasn't that many good horror movies. And this one was good. I did enjoy it. It just wasn't amazing, and I have seen some decent horror movies, so maybe that's why I was comparing it to them. Very cliche, like there's lots of things that you see in horror movies, which is understandable because it's just another little, not throwaway, but expendable horror movie that you can just, you know, when it's storming out right now, it's really quiet right now, you guys can't hear, but it was thundering and lightning all over the place, like right before I clicked record. It's kind of something like I was bored on Netflix and I sent text like, hey, what should I watch? And I couldn't find anything, so I was like, you know, I'm just gonna watch The Grudge. Why not? And a lot of people actually said it's a really good movie, and I had pretty high expectations for it, just because the way at first I wasn't expecting much. You're gonna hear thunder any second now, I think. Let me open my window so you can hear it. Can you hear that? That breeze is really nice. It's like 12 a.m. I think. I don't have a clock around me. I think it's about 12:10. Still thundering. Jesus. Okay. Oh. Just finished thundering. No word of lie, that was almost a minute. Oh, I still hear. Okay, one thing that really bugged me, especially for the first half and 2/3 of the movie, is after a big jump scare, which I actually did like those. They didn't really scare me, but they were, you know, normal, good jump scares. They weren't like crappy ones. Like, one thing that I did like is that there weren't many crappy jump scares, where in some movies, like, you know, like they'll pan to a window and then birds will fly up, and that'll be the first jump scare. It's like, that's just a cheap scare. I don't think there was any of those, and if there was, they weren't that bad, or weren't very cheap, if that makes sense. But they were very predictable. You know, the music got really loud, camera slowly panned and zoomed in on something, on darkness, and then something jumped out. And I will admit, yeah, there was one that actually kind of freaked me out, and it wasn't even much of a jump scare, but it was just, that's probably why it didn't get me that much, because I wasn't expecting it. I won't tell you what one it is. I'm not going to say anything. But yeah, one thing that really bugged me is in the first half and first 2/3 of the movie, around that, you know, portion of the movie, after jump scare just cut to black. And I get it, because it's supposed to be like, oh, okay, that person died, and when it cuts to black, that's how you know someone died. And that happens a lot. When you see someone walk into a room alone, or see someone alone through a camera or something, they're dead. You can just know, okay, they're dead within 5 minutes. which kind of sucks because it's very predictable. I know that's how most horror movies go, but at least with some, it's not a full death. It's just something happens to them. They see something, and that does happen where someone survives it, but they're scarred and kind of useless, if you know what I mean. They're just shocked. They're totally in shock. And there's some parts that are left very open. There were some things that I was left wondering at the end, which is why I kind of want to watch the sequel. But then it's like, if they don't answer it in the sequel, that was just lazy writing, and they just didn't finish off that story, which is one problem that I have with this movie. Is they made a lot of characters, which isn't bad, but they tried to make them all in depth and unique, which is good. They did try, and they weren't bad. Just I lost track a lot. They were trying to keep track of a few storylines that were all intertwined somehow. I don't know. It was a big jumble of characters, which is probably a direct correlation to the Japanese version, which I haven't seen. I might watch now. Hopefully it's better, but it's also probably older. So sometimes even if a crappy 2000s movie is better than a good 80s movie, if that makes sense, because just the budgets and technology they had. But yeah, there's lots of characters to keep track of, and I got bored because there wasn't one character that I was rooting for, really. There was like a couple that I was like, okay, I hope they don't die. Oh, they died. Damn. But I really wish that I was like Insidious or Conjuring, where there's one character or a couple characters that you want to survive and you're rooting for them. Because there's some movies like, I don't know, Kong, where you want to see him just turn around and punch a helicopter. Because you don't really care that much about those characters. But there's some characters in, for example, Kong Skull Island that you didn't want to die. And that's what a good movie is. You have someone that you want to root for and cheer for. The Grudge didn't really have that. There was a couple people that you cared for and were a little, okay, oh, I hope they get out of this. And some do, but then it's also like, let's see how they can die. And then if you see them walk into a room alone, something's going to happen. So it's very predictable in that way. Overall, I'd give it a 6.5, between a 6 and a 7, which is a pretty high rating for this movie. I think Rotten Tomatoes gave it like a 40%, which is really low for them. I don't think it was that bad, but it might also just be the acting wasn't the best. The first scene, I couldn't tell if she was, okay, I won't say anything, but this girl gave a reaction to something that happened that most people would scream. Like, if I saw that, I'd scream, totally freak out. That's what most people do. That would almost what everyone would do. And I don't know if she was supposed to act this way to make it seem like, wow, she didn't give a reaction to that. That's weird. Did she want that to happen? How it looked is something happened. She gave just kind of a shocked expression, and it's like, that's it? Like, what just happened was traumatizing. That would be horrible. You need to see a therapist for that. So maybe that's kind of a way to interpret it, that like, okay, she wasn't scared. That's bad. You know, she was used to that, or she wanted that to happen. But that's not how you start a movie, where it seems like it's very fake and the acting's bad. But yeah, it was an overall good movie. I give it a 6.5 out of 10, which is pretty good, honestly, for a movie. 65% on Rotten Tomatoes, or on any rating square. That's not bad. So yeah, I did enjoy The Grudge. I don't know if I'm going to watch the sequel. Drop a like if you enjoyed this movie review. I hope it's in depth. I should probably name the cast. I'm going to butcher two of these names. Actually, all these names. Takako Fuji, Sarah Gellar, Yuya Ozeki, he played the little boy, and Jason Bear? I don't know, it's Behr. And it was directed by Takashi Shimizu. I don't know. Yeah, drop a like, drop a comment. We'll see you next time.